Admiral Veltar stood before the massive viewing screen in his command chamber, watching distant stars through the transparent metal. His forearms moved gracefully as he reviewed the daily reports from across the Galactic Empire. Today's batch included surveys from 12 new star systems, tax reports from 47 colonies, and routine military updates from the Outer Rim territories. The door to his chamber slid open with a soft hiss. Commander Yexidal entered, carrying a data tablet that glowed with soft blue light. The younger officer's movements showed respect and caution as he approached the Admiral's desk. "Sir, we have received the final survey report from Sector 7 Alpha," Yexidal said, placing the tablet on the polished surface. "The system contains one inhabited world. The locals call it Earth." Veltar picked up the tablet with one of his lower arms while his upper arms remained crossed behind his back. His large, dark eyes scanned the information quickly. The report showed a small blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. Population: approximately 8 billion humanoid creatures. Technology level: basic space travel, primitive weapons, simple energy production. "Another backwater world," Veltar said, his voice carrying the tone of someone who had seen this report hundreds of times before. "What do they use for defense?" "Metal ships, sir. They fire solid projectiles at each." "Other. No energy weapons detected, no shield technology. They appear to be fighting among themselves frequently over resources and territory disputes." Veltar made a sound that might have been laughter if he were human. In his species, it sounded more like air escaping from a pressurized container. Solid projectiles? Do they throw rocks at each other, too? "The report indicates they have developed nuclear weapons, sir, but only for use against their own kind. They have never encountered spacefaring species before." The Admiral set down the tablet and walked to his viewing screen. Beyond the stars lay an empire that stretched across 3 galaxy arms. Thousands of worlds paid tribute to the central government. Millions of ships patrolled space lanes and kept order. Advanced civilizations that had once thought themselves powerful now served as loyal provinces. "How many ships do our analysts recommend for subjugation?" Veltar asked. 50 ships, sir. Standard Protocol 7. The analysts believe local resistance will collapse within 1 planetary rotation once they see our superior technology. Veltar nodded. Protocol 7 was routine. It involved sending a small fleet to demonstrate power, demanding surrender, and then establishing a colonial government. The Empire had used this approach successfully on hundreds of worlds. Most species surrendered immediately when they saw what they faced. The few that resisted were quickly overwhelmed. "Very well. Assign the task to whoever needs easy promotion. Credits. This should take no more than a few days." Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Captain Dongmin Park stood in the control room of the Busan Naval Development Facility. Through the massive windows, he could see the shipyard where Earth's most advanced warship waited for its final tests. The ship looked different from anything humanity had built before. Where traditional vessels were smooth and curved, this one had sharp angles and flat surfaces. Where others were painted bright colors for identification, this one was matte black that seemed to absorb light. "Soul's Pride is ready for the final engine test, Captain," said Chief Engineer Hye-Jin Kim, as she approached with a tablet full of technical readings. Her voice carried excitement mixed with nervousness. They had worked on this project for 3 years, pushing the boundaries of everything they knew about space travel and warfare. "All systems green?" Park asked, taking the tablet to review the numbers. He was a man in his 40s with graying hair and calm eyes that had seen enough military service to know when something was truly important. Better than green, sir. The new propulsion system is showing efficiency rates 30% higher than our projections. The power core is stable, and all weapon systems are responding perfectly. Park looked out at the ship again. Soul's Pride was not large compared to the battleships that fought in Earth's oceans, but for a space vessel, it was massive. More importantly, it represented years of innovation and experimentation. Every system had been designed from scratch, without the limitations that came from adapting old technology. "What about the special features?" Park asked quietly. Kim lowered her voice even though they were alone. "The stealth coating works better than expected. When all systems are powered down, we are practically invisible to radar and heat sensors. The railgun system can fire projectiles at speeds we never thought possible. And the new armor—" She paused, looking proud. "Sir, I believe this ship could survive a direct nuclear strike." Park handed back the tablet. "The government still considers this experimental only, Kim. They have made it clear that Soul's Pride will never see actual combat. We are just testing new ideas for the next generation of ships." "I understand, sir, but if the day ever comes when Earth needs this ship—" "Let us hope that day never comes," Park said, but his eyes remained on the vessel. Something in his gut told him they were building Soul's Pride for a reason, even if nobody knew what that reason was yet. In another part of the facility, weapons specialist Kyung-Soo Nam ran final tests on the ship's main guns. Unlike the energy weapons that science fiction movies imagined, Soul's Pride carried railguns that used magnetic fields to fire solid metal rods at incredible speeds. The system was simple, reliable, and devastatingly effective. "The beauty of kinetic weapons," Nam explained to his assistant, "is that they cannot be stopped by energy shields or deflected by magnetic fields. When a tungsten rod traveling at 15% of light speed hits something, physics does the rest." Navigation Officer Bo-Young Seo worked in the ship's computer center, programming the new artificial intelligence system that would help coordinate all of Soul's Pride systems during combat. The AI was not smart enough to think for itself, but it could process information and respond to threats faster than any human crew. "The response time is incredible," Seo told her team. "From threat detection to weapon firing, we are looking at less than 2 seconds. No human pilot could react that quickly." As the day ended, Captain Park walked through Soul's Pride one final time. The ship felt different from other vessels he had served on. The corridors were wider, the ceilings higher, and everything seemed built for efficiency rather than comfort. But there was something else, something harder to define. The ship felt alive, like it was waiting for something. In his private quarters that night, Park reviewed the classified reports about strange signals detected at the edge of the solar system. Deep space monitoring stations had picked up energy, signatures unlike anything in Earth's databases. The signals appeared artificial, suggesting they came from technology rather than natural phenomena. The government had classified the information at the highest levels. Official policy stated that Earth was alone in the universe until proven otherwise, but Park knew that policy was about to change. Someone or something was out there, and they were getting closer. As he prepared for sleep, Park looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere among those points of light, Admiral Veltar was preparing to send 50 ships to subjugate what he thought was a primitive world. Neither man knew they were about to make contact in a way that would change the galaxy forever. Tomorrow would bring the final test of Soul's Pride. In a few weeks, that test would become humanity's first and possibly last chance to prove they belonged among the stars. The alarm in the Deep Space Monitoring Station near Pluto had been silent for 60 years. When it finally activated, the sound was so unexpected that technician Jae-min Cho nearly dropped his coffee cup. Red lights flashed across his control panel as sensors detected massive energy signatures approaching from interstellar space. "This cannot be right," Jamin whispered, checking his instruments 3 times. The readings showed 15 large objects moving faster than anything humans had ever built. They were still days away from Earth, but their course was unmistakable. They were heading directly for humanity's home world. Within hours, the alert reached Earth Command. Admiral Subin Lee stood in the main operations center, studying the holographic display that showed the approaching objects. Around her, dozens of technicians worked frantically to gather more information about the visitors. "Size estimates?" Lee asked. "Each object appears to be roughly 2 kilometers long, Admiral," reported sensor specialist Mi-jung Park. "They are maintaining perfect formation and decelerating in a controlled manner. This is definitely artificial technology." Lee felt her stomach tighten. Earth's Space Navy consisted of 12 vessels, all designed for operations within the solar system. The largest was barely 300 meters long. If these visitors had hostile intentions, humanity was completely outmatched. "Communications, start broadcasting on all frequencies," Lee ordered. "Standard first contact protocols. Tell them we welcome peaceful visitors and request their intentions." For 2 days, Earth's messages went unanswered. The alien fleet continued its approach, maintaining perfect silence. Then, as the ships entered the outer solar system, a response finally came. The transmission arrived on frequencies Earth had never used, requiring several hours to decode. When the translation software finally processed the message, the words appeared on screens throughout Earth Command. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet. Your world has been selected for integration into the Galactic Empire. Resistance is futile and will result in the destruction of your civilization. Prepare for immediate surrender. You have 1 rotation of your planet to comply." Admiral Lee read the message twice, hoping she had misunderstood something. The tone was not that of explorers or diplomats. These were conquerors who expected instant submission. "Send a response," Lee ordered. "Tell them we appreciate their contact but cannot surrender our world. Request immediate diplomatic discussions to find a peaceful solution." The reply came within minutes, and it was not what anyone expected. Commander Thexmol aboard the Imperial cruiser Domination reviewed the human response with amusement. In his 40 years of conquest, he had seen many primitive species try to negotiate when faced with superior power. Some begged, some threatened, some offered tribute. But this response was different. The humans were polite but firm. They actually believed they could refuse the Empire's demand. "Activate the demonstration protocol," Thexmol ordered. "Target their lunar settlements. Destroy enough infrastructure to show them our power, but leave survivors to spread word of what happened." The Imperial fleet moved into attack formation, energy weapons that could crack small moons charged with power that made stars seem dim, targeting systems that had destroyed 1,000 worlds locked onto the human colonies on Earth's moon. The attack lasted 3 minutes. When it ended, the lunar mining facilities were gone. 10,000 humans died instantly as atmosphere vented into space and structures collapsed. The few survivors sent desperate messages to Earth, describing weapons beyond human comprehension. Captain Taeho Choi commanded the defense station Guardian, positioned between Earth and the Moon. He watched the destruction through his ships, telescopes, feeling helpless rage build in his chest. His small patrol vessel carried missiles and railguns designed to fight other human ships. Against the alien technology he had just witnessed, his weapons were useless. "Get me Admiral Kang at Earth Command," Choi ordered his communications officer. Admiral Jinwoo Kang appeared on the main screen within seconds. His face showed the stress of a man trying to defend his entire species with inadequate resources. "Admiral, we need the prototype," Choi said without hesitation. "Soul's Pride is our only chance." Kang was quiet for several seconds. Soul's Pride was still experimental, untested in actual combat. The ship had performed perfectly in simulations, but activating it would mean admitting that Earth's conventional forces were helpless. "The prototype has never been cleared for combat operations," Kang said finally. "Sir, with respect, our conventional forces just became irrelevant. These aliens destroyed our lunar colonies in 3 minutes. If we are going to fight, we need every advantage we can get." Through the communication link, both men could hear updates from the disaster teams trying to rescue lunar survivors. The death toll was climbing rapidly, and the aliens had demonstrated they could destroy Earth's infrastructure at will. "Contact Captain Park," Kang said. "Tell him Soul's Pride is now humanity's primary defense vessel, full combat authorization." At the Busan Naval Development Facility, Captain Dongmin Park received the emergency authorization, while Soul's Pride was still connected to the dock's power systems. Chief Engineer Hye-Jin Kim ran through the facility's corridors, activating emergency protocols that would ready the ship for immediate departure. "All experimental systems are coming online," Kim reported as she reached the command center. "Stealth. Coding is active, weapons are charged, and the AI is running full diagnostics." Park looked at his crew, men and women who had spent years preparing for a mission they hoped would never come. Navigation Officer Bo Young-seo worked frantically to plot courses that would keep Soul's Pride hidden from alien sensors. Weapons Specialist Kyung-soo Nam activated targeting systems that had never been used against real enemies. "How long until we can launch?" Park asked. 30 minutes to complete power system transfers," Kim replied. "But sir, we have never tested all systems simultaneously under combat conditions. We do not know if everything will work together correctly." "Then we will find out," Park said grimly. As Soul's Pride prepared to launch, the alien fleet sent another message to Earth. Commander Thexmol's transmission was broadcast on every frequency humans used for communication, ensuring that every person on the planet could hear his words. "Your lunar colonies have been eliminated to demonstrate our power. This is your final warning. Surrender immediately, or we will begin systematic destruction of your planet's surface. You have 6 of your hours to comply." In cities around the world, people gathered around televisions and computers to watch the news coverage. Many panicked, but others felt something else rising in their hearts. Humanity had always been a species that fought back when cornered. Earth's history was full of smaller forces defeating larger ones through courage and innovation. Admiral Lee broadcast Earth's final response from her command center, speaking directly to the alien fleet and to every human listening. "Commander, Thexmol. Earth cannot and will not surrender. We mourn our people who died today, but their deaths will not be in vain. You have made a mistake. You attacked civilians to frighten us, but you have only made us angry. If you want our world, you will have to take it." Thexmol received the transmission with disbelief. In all his years of conquest, no species had refused to surrender after a demonstration of imperial power. These humans seemed to think their primitive technology could somehow challenge the greatest military force in the galaxy. "Prepare for full assault," he ordered his fleet. These creatures will learn the price of defying the Empire. But as the alien ships moved into attack formation, their sensors detected something unexpected. A single human vessel was approaching. From Earth, moving faster than their intelligence reports had indicated was possible for human technology. The ship's energy signature was unlike anything in Imperial databases. Aboard Soul's Pride, Captain Park watched the alien fleet through. His ship's advanced sensors. 15 vessels, each one massive and clearly designed for destruction. His single ship was about to face an enemy that had just demonstrated the power to destroy worlds. "All systems ready, Captain," Chief Engineer Kim reported. "Take us to battle. Stations," Park ordered. "It is time to see what this ship can do." Soul's Pride moved through space like a shadow given form. The experimental stealth coating absorbed electromagnetic radiation across multiple spectrums, making the ship nearly invisible to conventional sensors. Captain Dong-Min Park stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display show 15 alien vessels arranged in a perfect attack formation. "Distance to target?" Park asked. 2 million kilometers and closing, reported Navigation Officer Bo Young-seo. "At current speed, we will reach engagement range in 40 minutes. Chief Engineer Hee-Jin Kim monitored her instruments with nervous concentration. Every system aboard Soul's Pride was operating in conditions they had never tested. The fusion reactor ran at 90% capacity, feeding power to experimental technologies that existed nowhere else in human space. "How are we holding up, Kim?" Park asked. "All systems stable, Captain. The stealth coating is performing beyond expectations. Their sensors should not detect us until we are almost on top of them." Weapons Specialist Kyung-Soo Nam ran final checks on the railgun systems. The magnetic acceleration chambers were charged and ready, with tungsten rods loaded in each of the ship's 12 main guns. Unlike energy weapons that could be seen coming, kinetic projectiles were invisible until impact. "Weapons ready, sir. Each railgun can fire every 3 seconds. Maximum effective range is 500,000 kilometers." Park studied the alien formation through Soul's Pride's advanced telescopes. The enemy ships were beautiful in their own way, with smooth curves and surfaces that seemed to glow with internal energy. They looked powerful and confident, like predators that had never encountered serious resistance. "They are not expecting us," Park observed. "Their formation is designed to attack a planet, not to defend against a single ship. That will be their mistake," said Tactical Officer Wu Jin. Analyzing the enemy positions. "If we approach from below their formation, we can engage 3 ships before they can turn to face us." Engineering Officer Yuri Jong monitored the ship's power distribution from her station. Soul's Pride required careful management of its energy systems. Unlike alien ships that seemed to have unlimited power, the human vessel needed to balance stealth, weapons, and propulsion carefully. "Captain, I recommend we maintain stealth until we reach optimal firing range," Jang suggested. "Once we start shooting, they will know exactly where we are." Park nodded. The plan was simple in concept, but dangerous in execution. Soul's Pride would use its stealth capabilities to get close to the alien fleet, strike as many ships as possible in the first attack, then rely on speed and maneuverability to survive the counterattack. "All stations prepare for combat," Park announced throughout the ship. "This is what we trained for. Stay calm, follow your procedures, and trust your equipment." Aboard the Imperial flagship Domination, Commander Thex Mol reviewed the tactical situation with satisfaction. His 15 ships were more than enough to destroy anything the humans could send against them. The primitive creatures had managed to build spacecraft, but their technology was centuries behind Imperial standards. "Sir, we are detecting an anomalous energy signature approaching from the planet," reported Sensor Officer Kethron. Thexmol looked at the display. "Show me." The screen showed a faint contact moving toward the Imperial fleet. The signature was weak and intermittent, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. "Sensor malfunction?" Thexmol asked. "Negative, sir. The readings are consistent across multiple sensor arrays. There is definitely something out there, but our systems cannot get a clear lock." Thexmol dismissed the concern with a gesture. Probably debris from their lunar colonies. "Focus on preparing the planetary bombardment. I want to begin destroying their major cities in 1 hour." The Imperial fleet continued its approach to Earth, unaware that death was climbing toward them. From below, Sol's Pride had positioned itself beneath the alien formation, using the enemy ships themselves to mask its approach. The human vessel moved with predatory patience, each kilometer bringing it closer to optimal striking distance. 400,000 kilometers, CO reported quietly. Park felt his heart rate increase. At this range, Sol's Pride's weapons could reach the alien ships, but accuracy would be poor. They needed to get closer, 300,000 kilometers. The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut. Every crew member knew they were about to engage an enemy that had just demonstrated the power to destroy worlds. Their single ship was humanity's only hope of avoiding complete conquest. 200,000 kilometers. "Weapons lock achieved," Nam reported. "I have clear shots on the 3 closest targets." Park took a deep breath. Once Sol's Pride fired its first shot, there would be no going back. The alien fleet would know humans were willing to fight, and the battle would determine the fate of Earth. 100,000 kilometers, CO announced. "This is it," Park said. "All stations combat ready. Nam, fire when ready." "Firing," Nam announced. Sol's Pride shuddered slightly as magnetic fields accelerated tungsten rods to incredible velocities. 12 railguns fired simultaneously, sending solid projectiles toward 3 alien ships at 15% of light speed. The projectiles were invisible, traveling faster than any defensive system could track. The first Imperial ship to be hit was the cruiser Subjugator. 3 tungsten rods struck its hull within milliseconds of each other. The alien vessel's energy. Shields, designed to deflect plasma weapons and particle beams, offered no protection against solid matter traveling at relativistic speeds. The rods punched through the ship's hull like bullets through paper. Inside the vessel, the kinetic energy released by the impacts vaporized everything in the projectile's paths. Subjugator broke apart in a brilliant explosion that lit up the darkness of space. The second target, destroyer Swift Vengeance, suffered a similar fate. 4 railgun rounds hit different sections of the ship simultaneously. The vessel's superstructure could not withstand the massive kinetic forces, and the destroyer simply disintegrated. The third ship, cruiser Iron Fist, took 2 hits to its engine section. The impacts disabled the vessel's propulsion and power systems, leaving it drifting helplessly while atmosphere vented from multiple hull breaches. Aboard Domination, alarms screamed throughout the ship as damage reports flooded the command center. Commander Thexamol stared at his tactical display in shock. 3 ships had been destroyed or disabled in less than 10 seconds, and his sensors still could not clearly identify the attacker. "Where did that come from?" Thexamol demanded. "Unknown, sir. We are detecting kinetic impacts but no energy weapon signatures. The attack came from somewhere below our formation." "Kinetic weapons? These primitives are using solid projectiles?" Officer Kethran worked frantically to locate the human ship. "Sir, I am detecting a faint contact bearing 27 Mark IV. The signature is unlike anything in our databases. All ships, turn to engage. Destroy that vessel immediately. The Imperial fleet began to turn toward Sol's Pride's position, but the human ship was already moving. Captain Park had ordered maximum acceleration immediately after firing, and Sol's Pride was racing away from its initial attack position. "They know where we are now," Park said. "Evasive maneuvers, full power to engines." The alien ships began firing, filling space with energy beams that could melt asteroids. But Sol's Pride was no longer where their targeting computers predicted it would be. The human ship changed course and speed constantly, making it nearly impossible to hit. "Next target?" Park asked. "Destroyer-class vessel bearing 09 Mark II, O reported. "Range 300,000 kilometers. "Too far for accurate shooting," Nam warned. "Then we get closer," Park decided. "SEO, take us in." Sol's Pride dove toward the alien formation like a hawk attacking a flock of birds. The ship's unconventional design allowed it to change direction quickly, while its stealth coating continued to confuse enemy sensors. Energy beams flashed past the human vessel, some missing by mere kilometers. 50,000 kilometers to target, CO announced. "Fire," Park ordered. This time, Sol's Pride targeted a single enemy ship with all 12 railguns. The concentrated firepower was devastating. The alien destroyer simply vanished in a cloud of expanding debris. Commander Thexmol watched another of his ships die and felt something he had not experienced in decades: fear. The human vessel was unlike anything the Empire had encountered. It fought with weapons that ignored their defenses and moved in ways that made no tactical sense. All ships converge on the enemy vessel. Bring every weapon to bear. But as the Imperial fleet closed in on Sol's Pride, they discovered another unpleasant surprise. The human ship's stealth capabilities allowed it to disappear from sensors whenever it powered down its weapons and engines. One moment it was there, the next it had vanished completely. "Where did it go?" Thexmol shouted. "Unknown, sir. We have lost contact." In the darkness of space, Sol's Pride drifted silently among the debris of destroyed alien ships. The vessel's stealth coating made it virtually invisible, and its crew waited patiently for the next opportunity to strike. "They cannot see us," Kim reported quietly. "All enemy ships are searching." Sol's Pride drifted silently through the debris field created by the destruction of 3 Imperial ships. The human vessel had powered down all non-essential systems, making it nearly invisible to alien sensors. Captain Dongmin Park and his crew waited in the darkness, like hunters preparing to strike again. "Status report," Park whispered, keeping his voice low even though sound could not travel through space. Chief Engineer Hyojin Kim checked her instruments carefully. "All systems operating within normal parameters. The stealth coating is holding. No signs of enemy detection." Through the bridge windows, the crew could see the remaining 12 Imperial ships searching frantically for their hidden enemy. Energy beams swept through space as the aliens tried to flush out Sol's Pride, but the human ship remained invisible. Commander Thexmol stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the tactical display that showed the positions of his remaining vessels. In 30 years of conquest, he had never lost ships to an enemy that could not be seen. The human vessel appeared and disappeared like a ghost, striking without warning and then vanishing before his fleet could respond. "Damage report," Thexmol demanded. "3 ships destroyed, 1 disabled," replied Damage Control Officer Vectar. "Total casualties estimated at over 4,000 personnel." Thexmal felt anger building in his chest. These primitive humans had killed more Imperial soldiers in one engagement than most species managed in entire wars. Worse, they had done it with simple kinetic weapons that the Empire had abandoned centuries ago. "Sir, incoming transmission from Fleet Command," announced the communications officer. The transmission was encrypted at the highest levels, indicating it came directly from Imperial High Command. Admiral Veltar's image appeared on the main screen. His forearms crossed in a gesture of extreme displeasure. "Commander Thexmal, explain how you lost 3 ships to a single primitive vessel." Thexmal straightened his posture, trying to maintain dignity while reporting a disaster. "Sir, the human ship uses technology unlike anything in our databases. It employs kinetic weapons that penetrate our shields and stealth capabilities that confuse our sensors." "Kinetic weapons?" Veltar's voice carried disbelief. "You are telling me that rocks fired from primitive guns destroyed Imperial cruisers?" "The what?" "Projectiles travel at significant fractions of light speed, sir. Our energy shields are not designed to stop solid matter at those velocities." Veltar was quiet for several seconds, processing information that contradicted everything he knew about warfare. Energy shields had made kinetic weapons obsolete throughout the galaxy. No civilized species had used solid projectiles in combat for over 1,000 years. "What is your current tactical situation?" "The enemy vessel remains hidden among the debris of destroyed ships. We are conducting search patterns to locate and eliminate it." "Do not let a single primitive ship escape, Commander. The reputation of the Empire depends on it." The transmission ended, leaving Thexmal alone with the knowledge that his career and possibly his life depended on destroying one human vessel that seemed to be made of shadows and determination. Aboard Soul's Pride, weapons specialist Kyung-Soo, Nam monitored the alien search patterns while planning the next attack. The Imperial ships had formed a loose net, trying to trap the human vessel in a web of overlapping sensor coverage, but their tactics were based on hunting enemies that fought conventionally. "They are making the same mistake again," Nam observed, quietly. "They assume we will behave like their usual enemies." Navigation Officer Bo Young-seo had plotted several potential escape routes through the debris field. The wreckage of destroyed ships provided excellent cover for a vessel with Soul's Pride's stealth capabilities. "Captain, I can get us behind their formation using the debris as cover. If we approach from their blind spot, we could hit 2 more ships before they know we are there." Park studied the tactical display. The alien fleet was powerful, but they were fighting an enemy they did not understand. Their formations and tactics were designed for conventional space warfare, not for hunting a single ship that could appear and disappear at will. "Engineering. Can we maintain stealth while moving?" "For short periods," Kim replied. "The stealth coating works best when we are not using the main engines. But we can move slowly without giving away our position." "Do it. Take us around their left flank." Soul's Pride began to move through the debris field like a shark swimming through a coral reef. The ship's dark hull blended perfectly with the shadows cast by floating wreckage. Twisted metal from destroyed alien vessels provided perfect camouflage for humanity's most advanced warship. Engineering Officer Yuri Jang carefully managed the ship's power output, making sure no energy signatures leaked through the stealth coating. The human vessel operated on the edge of its capabilities, balancing stealth, mobility, and combat readiness. 2 alien destroyers ahead, Tactical Officer Woo Jin-oh reported. "They are scanning the debris field but moving in a predictable pattern." Park watched the enemy ships through Soul's Pride's telescopes. The alien vessels were beautiful but arrogant, moving with the confidence of predators that had never encountered serious resistance. They were about to learn that confidence could be a weakness. Range to targets? 80,000 kilometers to the nearest ship, 120,000 to the second. Perfect range for accurate fire. Num. Prepare to engage both targets. Simultaneously, Nam targeted the railgun systems with the precision of a master craftsman. 6 guns would fire at the first destroyer, 6 at the second. At this range, the tungsten rods would arrive almost instantly, giving the aliens no time to react. Weapons locked and ready, Captain. Fire. Once again, Soul's pride revealed itself through violence. 12 railgun rounds streaked through space at velocities that made light seem slow. The first destroyer, Stellar Conquest, took 6 hits along its hull. The kinetic energy released by the impacts tore the ship apart from the inside, causing a chain reaction that destroyed the vessel's power core. The second destroyer, Dark Victory, suffered a similar fate. 6 tungsten rods penetrated its shields as if they did not exist, punching through armor that could resist energy weapons capable of cracking planets. The ship broke apart in sections, each piece spinning away into the darkness. 2 more down. Nam reported with satisfaction. "Now we move," Park ordered. "They know where we fired from." Soul's pride accelerated away from its firing position, just as the remaining Imperial ships converged on the area. Energy beams capable of vaporizing. Asteroids filled the space where the human ship had been moments before. But Soul's pride was already gone, fading back into the debris field like a phantom. Commander Thexamol watched 2 more of his ships die and felt something close to panic. In less than an hour, he had lost 5 ships to an enemy he could barely detect. The human vessel seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, striking without warning and disappearing before his fleet could respond. "All ships, form defensive formation," he ordered. "Minimum spacing 1,000 kilometers. Overlapping fields of fire." The Imperial fleet pulled into a tight formation, each ship covering the others with interlocking weapons. It was a defensive posture, something the Imperial Navy had not used in centuries of conquest. "Sir, incoming message from the human vessel," reported the communications officer. Captain Park's image appeared on the main screen. The human looked calm and determined, showing no sign of fear despite facing overwhelming odds. "Commander Thexmol, this is Captain Park of the Earth vessel Soul's Pride. You have lost 5 ships, and you will lose more if you continue this attack. I offer you one chance to withdraw from this system peacefully." Thexmol stared at the screen in disbelief. A single primitive ship had destroyed nearly half his fleet, and now its captain was offering him mercy. The insult was beyond anything he had experienced in his military career. "Human, you have delayed your destruction, but you cannot escape. Surrender now, and I will make your death quick." Park's expression did not change. "Commander, you made a mistake when you killed our people on the moon. We do not forget, and we do not forgive. Last chance to leave." The transmission ended, leaving Thexmol staring at a blank screen. Around him, his remaining officers waited for orders. The Imperial fleet was still more powerful than the single human ship, but everyone on the bridge had seen what that ship could do. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked Tactical Officer Zendar. Thexmol looked at his remaining 7 ships, then at the debris that had once been 5 proud vessels of the Imperial Navy. These humans fought with primitive weapons, but they fought with a ferocity and unpredictability that the Empire had never encountered. "Prepare for final assault," he ordered. "All ships, maximum firepower. I want that human vessel destroyed." But even as he gave the order, Thexmol wondered if he was making the right choice. The humans had already proven they could hurt the Empire. The question was whether they could do more than that. In the darkness between the stars, Sol's pride waited for the next phase of the battle. The alien fleet was wounded but still dangerous. Captain Park and his crew had shown that humanity could fight, but the real test was yet to come. The Imperial fleet moved through space like wounded predators, their formation tight and defensive. Commander Thexmol had learned to respect the human ship that hunted his vessels, but respect would not save his career or his life if he failed to complete his mission. 7 ships remained from his original 15, and he intended to use every one of them to destroy Sol's pride. "Deploy energy nets," Thexmol ordered. "Full-spectrum sensor sweeps. If that ship is out there, I want it found." The alien vessels began generating massive energy fields designed to disrupt stealth systems and force hidden ships to reveal themselves. Crackling webs of power spread through space, searching for the electromagnetic signature that would betray Sol's pride's location. Aboard the human ship, Chief Engineer Hyjin Kim watched her instruments with growing concern. The alien energy. Nets were unlike anything they had prepared for during testing. The fields probed constantly, seeking weaknesses in the stealth coating that kept Sol's pride invisible. "Captain, they are getting smarter," Kim reported. "The energy nets are scanning frequencies we have never encountered. I'm not sure how long our stealth will hold against this level of detection." Captain Dongmin Park studied the tactical display, watching the pattern of alien movements. The Imperial ships had abandoned their aggressive tactics in favor of a systematic search. They were learning from their losses, adapting their strategy to fight an enemy they could not see. "How long before they find us?" Park asked. "At their current scanning rate. Perhaps 30 minutes before they get a solid lock on our position." Navigation Officer Bo Young-seo examined the star charts, looking for tactical advantages Sol's pride could exploit. The battle was taking place in the outer solar system, where asteroids and debris provided some cover but not enough to hide from a determined search. "Captain, the asteroid belt is 2 million kilometers away. If we could reach it, the mineral content might mask our signature from their sensors." Weapons Specialist Kyung-Soo Nam shook his head. "At current power levels, we would be detected long before we reach the belt. They have us trapped in open space." Park looked through the bridge windows at the alien ships spreading their energy nets like fishermen casting for prey. Sol's pride had proven it could hurt the Empire, but now the Empire was fighting back with the patience and determination of a species that had conquered thousands of worlds. "New plan," Park announced. "We stop running." The bridge crew looked at their captain with surprise. Running and hiding had kept them alive so far. Direct confrontation with 7 enemy ships seemed like suicide. "Sir?" Kim asked carefully. "They expect us to keep hiding, to use hit-and-run tactics. So we do the opposite. We go dark completely, then attack them head-on when they least expect. It." Tactical Officer Wu Jin brought up the tactical analysis. "Captain, a direct assault against 7 ships would be extremely dangerous. Even with our advantages, the odds of survival are poor. The odds of survival are also poor if we let them hunt us down systematically," Park replied. "At least this way, we choose when and how to fight." Engineering Officer Yuri Zhang checked the power distribution systems. "If we go completely dark, we will be invisible to their sensors, but we will also be blind. No active sensors, no communications, no weapons targeting." "Then we fight by sight and instinct," Park said, "like our ancestors did before computers." Sol's pride began powering. "Down all active systems. The fusion reactor dropped to minimum output, the computer networks went silent, and the stealth coating absorbed every photon that touched the ship's hull. In the vast darkness of space, the human vessel became a ghost. Commander Thexmol watched, his sensor displays as the human ship simply vanished. One moment the energy nets were detecting faint traces of the enemy vessel, the next moment there was nothing. "Report," he demanded. "All sensors show negative contact, sir," replied Sensor Officer Kethrin. "The human ship has either been destroyed or has achieved complete stealth. Destroyed ships leave debris. Keep scanning." The Imperial fleet continued its methodical search, energy nets sweeping through space in overlapping patterns. But Sol's Pride was no longer where they expected it to be. The human ship had gone completely silent and was now moving on momentum alone, coasting toward the alien formation like an arrow shot from an invisible bow. Inside Sol's Pride, the crew worked in near darkness. Emergency lighting provided just enough illumination to see their instruments. The bridge was silent except for the quiet breathing of 6 humans who held the fate of their species in their hands. "Distance to enemy formation?" Park whispered. SEO checked her calculations using only passive sensors. 500,000 kilometers and closing. We are approaching from directly ahead of their search pattern. They will not expect us to come from that direction, Nam observed quietly. All their sensors are focused on the areas we have already been. Kim monitored the ship's systems without the help of computers. Every gauge had to be read manually, every system status checked by hand. It was like operating a spacecraft from the early days of human space travel. "All systems ready for immediate activation," she reported. "When you give the order, we can go from dark to full combat power in 10 seconds. Park watched the alien ships through the bridge windows, using optical telescopes that required no power and gave off no emissions. The Imperial vessels continued their search, confident that their systematic approach would eventually locate the hidden enemy. 300,000 kilometers, CO announced. The tension on the bridge was incredible. 6 people controlled a ship that represented humanity's most advanced technology, and they were about to attack an enemy fleet using nothing but courage and the element of surprise. 200,000 kilometers. Park could see individual details on the alien ships now. Their hulls glowed with internal energy, and weapon ports tracked back and forth as they searched for targets. Beautiful and deadly, the Imperial vessels represented a civilization that had conquered half the galaxy, 100,000 kilometers. "This is it," Park said quietly. "All stations, prepare for immediate activation. We get one chance at this. 50,000 kilometers. Sol's Pride was now inside the alien formation, coasting silently between enemy ships that had no idea death was among them. The human vessel had become a torpedo aimed at the heart of the Imperial fleet. 20,000 kilometers to nearest target. "Activate all systems," Park ordered. "Now." Sol's Pride came alive like a dragon awakening from sleep. The fusion reactor roared to full power, computers initialized in milliseconds, and weapon systems came online with deadly precision. The ship's stealth coating could no longer hide the massive energy signature, and suddenly the Imperial fleet found an enemy vessel in the middle of their formation. "Fire everything," Park commanded. All 12 railguns fired simultaneously at point-blank range. The alien ships were so close that the tungsten rods barely had time to accelerate before impact. The heavy cruiser Eternal Glory, caught completely off guard, took 8 direct hits to its command section. The ship broke apart like a toy struck by a hammer. The destroyer Void Hunter suffered 4 hits to its engine compartment. The kinetic. Energy released by the impacts caused a cascade failure that destroyed the ship's propulsion and life support systems. The vessel went dark and began drifting helplessly. Direct hits on 2 targets, Nam reported. Both ships eliminated, but Soul's Pride's surprise attack had cost them their stealth advantage. The remaining 5 Imperial ships now knew exactly where the human vessel was, and they responded with overwhelming firepower. Energy beams capable of melting asteroids converged on Soul's Pride from multiple directions. The ship's armor, designed to resist kinetic impacts, proved less effective against concentrated energy weapons. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as systems began to fail. Hull breach on Deck 7, Kim reported. Emergency force fields are holding, but we have lost structural integrity in that section. Evasive maneuvers, Park ordered. Get us out of their crossfire. CO pushed Soul's Pride's engines to maximum output, sending the ship racing away from the Imperial formation. The human vessel twisted and turned through space, its unconventional design allowing maneuvers that would be impossible for larger ships. But the aliens were learning. Commander Thexmol had seen enough of Soul's Pride's tactics to predict where the ship would go next. His remaining vessels moved to surround the human ship, cutting off escape routes. Target the engine section, Thexmol ordered. Disable their propulsion and finish them. Energy beams reached out for Soul's Pride like the arms of an octopus. The human ship dodged most of them, but one beam grazed the starboard engine housing. Sparks flew across the engineering section as power conduits overloaded. Engine efficiency down to 60%, Zhang reported. We are losing speed. Park looked at the tactical display. 5 enemy ships were closing in, and Soul's Pride was wounded. The human vessel had proven it could hurt the Empire, but now the Empire was fighting back with everything it had. Signal Earth Command, Park ordered. Tell them we engaged the enemy fleet. 7 ships destroyed, 5 remaining. Soul's Pride is still fighting. The battle was far from over, but both sides now understood something important. The humans would not surrender easily, and the Empire could bleed. The message from Commander Thexmol reached Imperial High Command 7 hours after the first shots were fired. Admiral Veltar read the battle report 3 times, unable to believe what his subordinate was telling him. A single human vessel had destroyed 10 ships from the Imperial fleet, with only 5 vessels remaining operational. This is impossible, Veltar said to his aide, Commander Yexdal. One primitive ship cannot defeat an entire battle group. The sensor logs confirm. The report, sir, Yexdal replied carefully. The human vessel uses kinetic weapons that penetrate our shields and stealth technology that confuses our sensors. Commander Thexmol requests immediate reinforcements. Veltar stood before his viewing screen, looking out at the stars that represented an empire stretching across 3 galaxy arms. In 1,000 years of expansion, no single enemy ship had ever caused such destruction to Imperial forces. The implications were troubling. What do we know about this Earth ship? Intelligence reports indicate it is experimental, sir, possibly their most advanced vessel. Our analysts believe they have only one such ship. One ship, Veltar repeated, and it has destroyed 10 of ours. The Admiral walked to his command console and activated the fleet communication system. His image appeared on screens throughout the sector, reaching every Imperial commander within 50 light years. This is Admiral Veltar with Priority Alpha. Orders. Battle Fleet Omega is to proceed immediately to the Sol system. The humans have proven more dangerous than initial estimates suggested. 200 ships should be sufficient to eliminate this threat. Commander Yexdal looked surprised. Sir, 200 ships to deal with one primitive world. One primitive world that just destroyed half of a subjugation fleet with a single vessel, Veltar replied coldly. We will not underestimate these humans again. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Sol's Pride limped through space with 5 Imperial ships in pursuit. The human vessel had taken significant damage during the latest engagement, and Chief Engineer Hai-Jin Kim worked frantically to keep critical systems operational. Hull breaches on 3 decks, Kim reported to Captain Dongmin Park. Life support is stable, but we have lost 20% of our armor plating. Another direct hit could penetrate our reactor shielding. Park studied the tactical display, watching the alien ships close in for what they hoped would be the final attack. Sol's Pride had proven that human technology could hurt the Empire, but the ship was running out of tricks. Engineering, how? Long until we can jump to hyperspace? The jump drive took damage in the last engagement, replied Engineering Officer Yuri Jang. I need at least 2 hours to complete repairs. We do not have 2 hours, observed Navigation Officer Bo-young Seo. The enemy ships will be in firing range within 30 minutes. Weapons Specialist Kyung-Soo Nam checked his ammunition status. We have enough tungsten rods for 2 more full salvos. After that, we switch to conventional missiles. Conventional missiles will not penetrate their shields, Tactical Officer Woo Jin-oh pointed out. We need the kinetic weapons to have any effect. Park looked through the bridge windows at the approaching alien ships. Commander Thexamol had learned from his losses and was being more cautious now. The Imperial vessels maintained formation, presenting overlapping fields of fire that would make another surprise attack impossible. New message from Earth Command, announced Communications Officer So Young-han. Admiral Lee reports that deep space sensors have detected a massive fleet approaching the system. Estimated arrival time, 18 hours. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. The current battle was just the beginning. The Empire was sending reinforcements, and when they arrived, Earth would face a force that could destroy planets. How many ships? Park asked. Preliminary estimates suggest over 200 vessels, sir. Park felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Sol's Pride had proven that humanity could fight the Empire, but 200 ships was a force that could overwhelm any defense Earth could mount. Signal Intelligence Officer Mi Young-shin at Earth Command, Park ordered. Tell her we need to know everything about the incoming fleet, ship types, weapons capabilities, formation patterns. If we are going to face that many enemies, we need every advantage we can get. On Earth, Mi Young-shin worked with her team to analyze the data from deep space monitoring stations. The incoming Imperial fleet was unlike anything in their databases. The ships were larger than the ones currently fighting Sol's Pride, and their energy signatures suggested more advanced weapons and defensive systems. This is their main battle fleet, Shin reported to Admiral Subin Lee. These are not subjugation ships designed to intimidate primitive worlds. These are warships built to fight serious enemies. Lee studied the holographic display showing the approaching alien armada. Each ship represented firepower that could level cities, and there were 200 of them. Recommendations? Lee asked. We need Sol's Pride to survive the current engagement and return to Earth, Shin replied. Captain Park and his crew have learned how to fight the aliens. Their experience could be crucial when the main fleet arrives. And if Sol's Pride cannot return? Shin was quiet for several seconds. Then we prepare to fight 200 alien warships with conventional forces that have already proven ineffective against their technology. Back in space, Sol's Pride faced its most desperate moment yet. The 5 remaining Imperial ships had formed a perfect firing formation, and Commander Thexamol was preparing to finish the battle that had cost him so many vessels. All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessel's engine section, Thexamol ordered. Disable their propulsion first, then destroy them systematically. The Imperial fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams that could crack moons converged on Sol's Pride from multiple angles. The human ship's evasive maneuvers became more desperate as damage accumulated across multiple systems. Direct hit to the starboard engine housing, Kim reported. Engine output down to 30%. We are losing speed rapidly. Park realized they were running out of options. Sol's Pride could not outrun the enemy ships with damaged engines, and their weapons were almost depleted. The ship that had humbled an empire was about to become a monument to human courage. All stations, prepare for ramming speed, Park announced. The bridge crew looked at their captain with a mixture of shock and determination. A ramming attack would destroy Sol's Pride, but it might take one more enemy ship with them. Sir, Kim said quietly, there might be another option. She brought up a display showing the ship's power distribution systems. If we reroute all, power from life support and artificial gravity to the engines, we might have enough energy for one final acceleration burn. How long would life support last? Approximately 40 minutes before carbon dioxide reaches dangerous levels. Park considered the option. 40 minutes might be enough time to escape the immediate threat, but it would leave Sol's Pride helpless if the enemy pursued them. Do it, he decided. Reroute all power to engines. Sol's Pride suddenly leaped forward as every available watt of energy fed into the propulsion system. The ship accelerated faster than its damaged engines should have allowed, pulling away from the surprised Imperial vessels. Commander Thexamol watched the human ship escape and felt frustration boil in his chest. Sol's Pride had destroyed most of his fleet and was now slipping away again. But he had learned something important about these humans during the battle. They never gave up. Pursuit course, he ordered his remaining ships. We will follow them back to their world and finish this there. In the darkness between the stars, Sol's Pride raced toward Earth with its crew breathing recycled air and time running out. Behind them, 5 alien warships followed like wolves pursuing wounded prey. And somewhere in the distance, 200. More ships approached with the power to end human civilization. The real battle was about to begin. Battlefleet Omega emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system like a storm made of metal and energy. 200 Imperial warships arranged themselves in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with the power of a civilization that had conquered thousands of worlds. Admiral Zekthar stood on the bridge of his flagship Cosmic Dominion, reviewing the tactical situation with cold satisfaction. Status report, Zekthar demanded. Commander Thexamol's remaining 5 ships are pursuing the human vessel toward the 3rd planet, reported Fleet Intelligence Officer Caxodon. The enemy ship appears damaged and is running on limited power. Zekthar studied the tactical display showing the positions of all forces in the system. The human ship that had caused so much trouble was finally trapped, and now it faced the full might of the Imperial Navy. What do we know about this Earth vessel? Intelligence reports indicate it uses kinetic weapons and stealth technology. Commander Thexamol lost 10 ships to this single enemy. Zekthar made a sound of disgust. 10 ships lost to one primitive vessel. Thexamol will face court-martial if he survives this engagement. The Admiral had commanded Battle Fleet Omega for 15 years, leading campaigns against rebel worlds and hostile alien species. He had never lost a battle, and he did not intend to start with these upstart humans. Deploy standard battle formation. We will demonstrate proper Imperial tactics to these primitives. Aboard Soul's Pride, Captain Dongmin Park and his crew struggled to keep their damaged ship operational. The vessel had lost most of its stealth capabilities during the running battle with Thexmol's forces, and now it faced an enemy fleet that could darken the sky. 200 ships confirmed, reported Intelligence Officer Mi Young Shin, monitoring enemy communications. They are deploying in attack formation around Earth. We are completely outnumbered. Chief Engineer Hae Jin Kim worked desperately to restore critical systems. Life support is back online, but we have lost 60% of our armor plating. Our stealth coating is damaged beyond repair. They can see us now. Navigation Officer Bo Young Seo plotted their course toward Earth, calculating the best approach to avoid the incoming alien fleet. Captain, at current speed, we will reach Earth orbit in 6 hours. The alien main fleet will arrive in 4 hours. Park studied the tactical situation with growing desperation. Soul's Pride had proven that human technology could hurt the Empire, but 200 ships was a force beyond anything they could handle alone. Signal Earth Command, Park ordered. Tell Admiral Lee that Battle Fleet Omega has arrived. We need every ship humanity can put into space. On Earth, Admiral Su-Bin Lee received the message in the main operations center. Around her, technicians worked frantically to coordinate the planet's defenses. Earth's space navy consisted of 12 vessels, all designed for operations within the solar system. Against 200 alien warships, they would last minutes. All ships to emergency stations, Lee ordered. Deploy every vessel we have. Civilian ships, cargo haulers, even the orbital construction platforms. If it can mount a weapon, I want it in space. Strategic analyst Hai Wan Yoon brought up the defensive plans they had prepared. Admiral, we can position our forces around Earth's moon, using the gravity well to our advantage. The aliens will have to approach through narrow corridors where we can concentrate our firepower. Do it, Lee decided, and prepare the orbital defense platforms. If we are going down, we will make them pay for every meter. As Earth's small fleet deployed to face impossible odds, Admiral Zekthar reviewed his battle plans aboard Cosmic Dominion. The human homeworld was defended by primitive vessels that posed no real threat to Imperial forces. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the planet, announced Communications Officer Velcron. Admiral Lee's image appeared on the main screen. The human leader looked tired but determined, showing no sign of fear despite facing overwhelming odds. Admiral Zekthar, I am Admiral Su-Bin Lee of the Earth Defense Force. I request immediate negotiations to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Zekthar studied the human female with amusement. Like all primitive species, the humans wanted to negotiate when faced with superior force. Admiral Lee, your single ship has caused considerable damage to Imperial forces. You will surrender immediately and submit to Imperial justice. We cannot surrender our world, Lee replied firmly. Earth is our home. We will defend it. With 12 primitive vessels against 200 Imperial warships, your courage is admirable but foolish. Lee's expression hardened. You should know something about humans, Admiral. We do not surrender. Ever. The transmission ended, leaving Zekthar staring at a blank screen. In his experience, primitive species always surrendered when faced with impossible odds. These humans seemed different, but courage alone could not stop the Imperial Navy. All ships advance to attack positions, Zekthar ordered. "Prepare for planetary bombardment." The Imperial fleet began moving toward Earth in perfect formation. Each ship represented centuries of military engineering and the combined might of a galactic empire. Against them, humanity deployed everything they had: military vessels, civilian ships, orbital platforms, and one damaged experimental warship racing to join the defense. Sol's Pride reached Earth orbit just as the alien fleet entered the outer system. Captain Park brought his ship alongside the defense station Sejong Station, where Admiral Lee waited with Earth's small fleet. "Status report, Captain," Lee requested as Park's image appeared on her screen. "Sol's Pride is operational but damaged," Park replied. "We have limited stealth capabilities and reduced firepower, but we learned something important during our engagement with their advance force." "What did you learn?" "They can be beaten. Their technology is advanced, but they think conventionally. They expect enemies to behave in predictable ways. Our advantage is that we do not fight like anyone they have encountered before." Lee studied the tactical display showing the approaching alien armada. 200 ships arranged in perfect military formation, advancing with the confidence of conquerors who had never known defeat. "Captain Park, you and Sol's Pride will lead our defense. You have the most experience fighting these aliens." "Admiral, we need to coordinate with all our ships. The orbital platforms, the civilian vessels, everything. If we fight as separate units, they will destroy us piecemeal." Tactical specialist Yoon Seo Park worked with her team to develop a battle plan using every asset humanity could deploy. The strategy was desperate but elegant. Use Earth's gravity well and orbital debris to create confusion, then strike the alien fleet with coordinated attacks from unexpected directions. "The aliens expect us to defend Earth directly," Yunseo explained. "Instead, we let them approach the planet, then attack from behind using the moon as cover." As the Imperial fleet closed to firing range, Admiral Zekthar prepared to demonstrate why the Empire ruled half the galaxy. His ships had conquered worlds that had fought for centuries. These primitive humans would be eliminated in hours. But as cosmic dominion entered Earth's orbital space, Zekthar received an unexpected report from his sensor officer. "Sir, we are detecting multiple human vessels scattered throughout the system. They are not maintaining formation." "Panicked retreat," Zekthar concluded. "Standard response from primitive species. Destroy them systematically." But the human ships were not retreating. Sol's Pride and Earth's defenders were implementing a strategy that no Imperial commander had ever encountered. They were about to turn Earth's solar system into a battlefield where human determination would face alien superiority. The final battle for Earth was about to begin, and Captain Park knew that everything humanity had ever built, everything they had ever dreamed, would be decided in the next few hours. The final battle began not with the thunder of weapons, but with silence. Admiral Zekthar's fleet advanced toward Earth in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming superiority. 200 Imperial warships moved through space like predators approaching helpless prey, their energy weapons charged and ready to demonstrate the price of defying the Empire. Captain Dong-min Park, aboard Sol's Pride, watched the enemy approach from his position behind Earth's moon. Around him, the scattered remnants of humanity's space fleet waited in hiding. 12 military vessels, 37 civilian ships, hastily armed with whatever weapons could be mounted, and 6 orbital defense platforms that had been repositioned. For mobile combat, they are maintaining standard attack formation, observed tactical specialist Yunseo Park. They expect us to defend Earth directly. Perfect, Captain Park replied. Let them get comfortable. Admiral Zekthar stood on the bridge of cosmic dominion, reviewing the tactical display with satisfaction. The human defenders had scattered throughout the system instead of concentrating their forces around their home world. It was the reaction of a primitive species that did not understand proper military strategy. "Begin bombardment of the planetary defense installations," Zekthar ordered. "Show these primitives the power of the Empire." The Imperial fleet opened fire with weapons that could crack moons. Energy beams reached across space to strike Earth's orbital stations, reducing the massive structures to expanding clouds of debris. The demonstration was meant to break human morale and force immediate surrender, but instead of surrendering, the human fleet struck back. Soul's Pride led the attack, appearing from behind the moon like a ghost materializing from shadow. The experimental ship's damaged stealth systems could not hide it completely, but they confused enemy sensors enough to allow a close approach. Captain Park had learned from every engagement during the running battle with Thexmol's forces. "Fire everything," Park ordered. Soul's Pride's railguns spoke with the voice of human determination. 12 tungsten rods streaked toward the Imperial. Formation at relativistic speeds, targeting the flagship Cosmic Dominion. The alien vessel's energy shields, designed to deflect plasma weapons and particle beams, offered no protection against solid matter traveling at 15% of light speed. 3 direct hits struck Cosmic Dominion's command section. The kinetic energy released by the impact's vaporized armor that could resist nuclear explosions. Admiral Zekthar felt his ship shudder under the assault and realized these humans were not like any enemy the Empire had faced. "Impossible," Zekthar breathed. "Those are primitive kinetic weapons." "Sir, damage to the command deck," reported his tactical officer. "Hull breaches on multiple levels." But Soul's Pride was not fighting alone. As the Imperial fleet turned to engage the human flagship, Admiral Subin Lee's plan revealed itself. The scattered human vessels attacked from every direction simultaneously, using Earth's gravity, well, and orbital debris to mask their approach. The cargo hauler, Busan Merchant, hastily armed with mining charges, rammed the Imperial destroyer Swift. Death. The explosion destroyed both vessels, but it also opened a gap in the alien formation. The orbital platform Dokdo Station, repositioned behind a cloud of space debris, emerged to fire nuclear missiles at point-blank range into the cruiser Stellar Conquest. "They are attacking from everywhere," reported Fleet Intelligence Officer. "Caxton aboard Cosmic Dominion. The humans have turned their entire system into a battlefield." Navigator Sang-Hyun Lim aboard Soul's Pride coordinated the chaotic battle using Jupiter's gravity well to slingshot human ships into attack positions. The civilian vessel Jeju Explorer, loaded with industrial explosives, used the gas giant's gravitational pull to achieve impossible velocities before striking the Imperial battleship Iron Vengeance. 16 enemy ships destroyed, reported weapons. Specialist Kyung-Soo Nam. "But we are taking heavy casualties." The human fleet was fighting with desperate courage, but Imperial firepower was devastating. Energy beams vaporized human vessels that lacked proper armor. The defense platform Sejong Station died in a blast of superheated plasma. The military cruiser Incheon Pride broke apart under concentrated fire from 3 alien destroyers. But for every human ship that died, another took its place. Chief Medical Officer Jae-Sung Kim treated wounded crew members while Communications Officer So Young-han coordinated with the surviving human vessels. The battle had become a test of wills between an empire that expected easy victory and a species that refused to surrender. Admiral Zekthar watched his fleet take losses and felt something he had not experienced in decades: uncertainty. The humans fought with weapons that should have been obsolete, tactics that made no strategic sense, and a determination that bordered on madness. "Sir, we have lost 43 ships," Caxton reported with disbelief. "The humans are using their entire solar system as a weapon." "Concentrate all fire on their flagship," Zekthar ordered. "Destroy that ship and their resistance will collapse." The Imperial fleet focused its remaining firepower on Sol's Pride. The human vessel had become the symbol of humanity's defiance, and its destruction would break the spirit of the defenders. Energy beams converged on the experimental ship from dozens of directions. Chief Engineer Hye-Jin Kim watched her systems fail one by one as overwhelming firepower hammered Sol's Pride. "Hull breaches on 8 decks. Reactor containment is critical. We cannot take much more damage." Captain Park looked around his bridge at the crew that had fought impossible odds with him. These 6 humans had faced an empire and proven that courage could challenge any force in the galaxy. "Signal the fleet," Park ordered. "All remaining ships, final attack formation." Engineering Officer Yuri Zhang rerouted all remaining power to the engines. Tactical Officer Wu Jin coordinated targeting with the surviving human vessels. Navigation Officer Bo Young Seo plotted a course directly through the heart of the Imperial formation. "Captain," Kim said quietly, "if we overload the reactor, we can create a gravitational distortion that will destroy everything within 10,000 kilometers." Park understood immediately. Sol's Pride could become a weapon that would eliminate the remaining Imperial fleet, but the explosion would also destroy every human ship in the area. "Signal Admiral Lee," Park ordered. "Tell her to withdraw all surviving vessels to minimum safe distance." As the last human ships pulled back, Sol's Pride began its final charge toward Admiral Zekthar's flagship. The damaged vessel accelerated directly toward cosmic dominion while Imperial weapons pounded its hull. "Sir, the human ship is on a collision course," reported Zekthar's tactical officer. "They intend to ram us." Zekthar watched Sol's Pride approach and finally understood what he was facing. These humans would rather die than surrender. They would sacrifice everything to protect their world. "All ships, emergency dispersal," he ordered. "Get away from that vessel." But it was too late. Sol's Pride reached the center of the Imperial formation just as its reactor went critical. Captain Park and his crew had seconds to send their final message to Earth. "Tell them," Park said into the communications system, "tell them we showed the galaxy that humanity will not kneel." The explosion that destroyed Sol's Pride created a localized space-time distortion that tore through the Imperial fleet like a cosmic storm. 47 alien ships vanished in the gravitational maelstrom. Admiral Zekthar's flagship broke. Apart as impossible forces twisted its hull into metal sculpture. When the distortion collapsed, only 23 Imperial ships remained from the original 200. The survivors fled toward the edge of the system, their morale shattered by an enemy that had turned warfare into a form of art. 3 months later, Captain Ji-hoon Baek stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned warship Busan's Revenge, reading the latest intelligence reports from deep space. The Galactic Empire had officially designated humanity as a Class X threat and declared Earth's solar system off-limits to Imperial forces. "Captain," reported his communications officer, "we are receiving surrender requests from 3 Imperial colonies in nearby systems. They want to join Earth's protection zone." Beck smiled as he looked out at the stars. Sol's Pride and her crew had done more than defend Earth. They had shown the galaxy that a species armed with determination and ingenuity could challenge any empire. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and it would be built on the foundation of 6 people who chose to fight when surrender seemed the only option. Their sacrifice had proven that sometimes, against all odds and logic, David really could defeat Goliath. In the vast darkness between the stars, humanity's enemies learned to fear a species that built warships out of stubbornness and refused to accept defeat. The Galactic Empire had made the mistake of underestimating Earth's prototypes. They would never make that mistake again.